Hey guys, this is Hardt Antoine. We're at my studio here in London. I've come to show you a little bit of how I work. I had a few options of how I could do this, and I decided the best thing for me to do is to basically have a little jam and just show you how I'm starting tracks and the initial processes, how I'm working with some hardware and in the box and so on and so forth. So I will say that normally I start with a completely blank canvas, empty Ableton. I've got no preset, no template, nothing like that. I've got some stuff here that I've made just for today to save some time, but normally it's completely empty. And the reason why is because I don't like process. I don't like starting a track with a kick drum or a snare or a hat, or I don't like having a certain way of doing things. For me, that's kind of just kind of the enemy of creativity, you know. So my thing is always blank, and so I can keep an open mind and go absolutely anywhere. And that's the same with the studio and how some things are laid out, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, I started with some samples that I've gathered from all over the place. Normally that's probably the first thing I would do, but that would be a video in itself on how I'm finding samples and things like that. I wanted to show you, and this is quite important, I wanted to show you how I was going to sample off vinyl, but today my preamp decided to blow a fuse, so I can't show you that. Which is a very typical studio problem, you know. I'm using lots of hardware and sometimes things die, and very authentically that died today. So I've gathered a few samples from some records.
Put me in an awkward situation. Now what am I supposed to do when I want you in the world?
First is the vocal. I've got some kind of African drums. I mean, I didn't even realize that that's where that went, but yeah, we know what that is. And then I've gathered some stuff from some sort of sample packy things as well, some producer loops, edgy ones. Kind of nothing too conventional. Normally when I start something out, I want to start with something a bit weird and a little bit out there and create something that's got a unique character, and then I can turn that into something like a bit more familiar for the dance floor. I find that way around is better. If I start tracks with kick drums, the inspiration is harder to come by. So let's start with this vocal. I absolutely love it.
Put me in an awkward situation.
R&B, spoken word, super soulful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw that into an Ableton sampler. So I'm using the simpler, the really basic one, and Ableton has its sampler plugin, which is a little more complicated, but I use the really simple one. It works really well, and I'm just going to throw that in there. I don't know what the key is. I don't know what the tempo is. I'm just going to throw it in there, and then what happens is I can then play it on my keyboard.
Put me in an awkward situation.
And I can move the start point forward and back. Or I can, in fact, let's play with this for now. So I'm just going to cycle through until I find something that hits me a bit.
Put me in an awkward situation.
Okay, so that When I Want You, that's a kind of classic, kind of easy house line. In fact, I'm just going to say I Want You. So let me stick the metronome on. We're at 120 BPM, and that's the only reason why we're there is because when you open Ableton and it's blank, that's where it comes out. We might go up and down later. So let's get the I. And you can see I've made it here. The MIDI is playing it, super basic. It's just as I played the one note on my keyboard. I'm going to quantize it, even though the sample isn't quantized. So I'm doing my Control Command U. I'll talk about more how I'm quantizing in a minute, because there's something there. And then I want to do some more cuts and get some more of the color of the vocals. So I'm going to make a new track, and I'm going to literally duplicate the sampler there. And I'm going to find something to cut up to give it some rhythm. So That's quite nice. So. So I've just played that in. I'm going to quantize it. So the way I'm doing this is I'm putting the 16th grid on, and then I use the command U function. But when I quantize, it doesn't quantize at 100%. It only quantizes to see 48. So if I want to knock it into place, I've got to press the button several times, and that way it's just it shifts things into place, but things aren't perfect, and they're not perfectly on the grid, and things are a bit more rough and a bit more human. So you'll see when I'm quantizing stuff, you'll see I'm hitting the button several times. It's just my natural habit. And sometimes I turn this down. I turn it down to like 23, and sometimes I put it on 100. It just depends on my mood. All this stuff I change as I go. So. Okay, I just want that second half. The first one's starting to do my head in, so let's mute that, and I just want this. We've already got a little bit of a vibe. Now that we've got some rhythm, I can turn the metronome off. Okay, cool. And then let's do the same thing with the percussion, with that loop. So again, I'm making a new MIDI channel, simpler. I'm going to load in the percussive one, and I'm going to do this differently. So I've got the sampler here in the same way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a splice function, which is this amazing function from Ableton, where it uses the transients to see where the drum sounds are. Now, it doesn't always get it right. It will map them up and down the keyboard. So you've got, let me turn up a bit. And I can play them like this. And they're a little bit off, and maybe I can keep them off, maybe I can adjust them depending on how rough I want it to go. So let's just play that little loop we had. And find something nice. Same, quantizing it the same way again. I actually want it there. Okay, cool. And then let's keep going with the percussion. I actually want to record something in. So I'm going to do something I'm doing all the time. I'm going to hit some things together, and I've got this keys, and this is literally a safe, and I've got some coins in there and some keys. And the reason why I always use these is because the thing I struggle with is metallic sounds, and these are just like beautifully metallic. So I'm just going to hit record on the mic and record a bunch of crap, and maybe we'll turn it into something, maybe we won't. I have, yeah, the mic turned on, and I'm going to do this all very, very rough. I'm not making clean recordings. I'm just kind of jamming. So I've got the sound here. I'm going to turn it down. I might do this in my headphones normally, but I'm just going to turn it down. If we get some feedback, maybe we can use it. So recording. First thing to solo it. So I'm just going to hit some stuff. It's clipping. I'm turn it down. I'm keeping the clipping in there because maybe we can use it, you know. So keys. I can jingle that better. I can say hi, hello. Who cares? Whatever. We've got some audio. We've got some stuff we can play with, and some stuff that's new. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to throw it into a sampler. So it's playing that. Where should that play? that. It's probably worth me noting as well. Right, I want my voice.
Hello. Hello.
There we go. It's fun. And I've got a vibe there. I'm going to use that sample again. I'll probably make 5 things out of that little recording, you know. It's worth me noting, I realise I probably should have started with this, but I'm working in the live view, the live session view, and I always start tracks like this, and then I use it as kind of my sketch pad. And once I'm happy with something, and I probably today will mainly work in this view, and once I'm kind of happy with something, I'll switch to the arrangement view and I'll put it in there, and all the arrangement and everything will get done in there. But I always start here. It's just my workflow. So let's copy that over. Let's see if we can do something else. You see, I've got it in splice mode now. Hi-hat. It's funny.
I'm just gonna
You know what? I'm bored, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stick an arpeggiator on here, not a chord, and I'm going to see if I get any inspiration that way. So this is just playing 16 notes. I can play it up and down the keyboard. And again, I'm just looking for something. I don't know what. I'm just looking. So let's just put it in slice, and stick the arpeggiator on and see what we get. We're not getting very much from this. I will find something. Let's go back to this little metallic sounds. That's fun. You've got the metallic sound, which I can use as kind of a hi-hat, but then you've got my voice in there as well. That kind of creates something. So. So this now, I don't like this. I'm not thinking about the key of the track yet, but I'm just going to pitch it down because it's not quite in the spot. And I'm going to stick a big reverb on there. No, I'm not. I'm going to stick a delay. So I'm going to use Echo Boy from Sound Toys. And again, I'm just playing. Let's see what we can get with that. Fun. Increase the feedback. Right, I'm also going to stick one on the percussion. And I'm not looking for conventional reverb for the percussion. I'm looking to actually create something, you know, something. I'm just cycling through presets and just looking for inspiration. Oof. Cool, so I found this kind of flangey thing. And there's something to be created there. So what I'm going to do is, rather than leaving the plugin, I'm going to create a new audio channel, and I'm going to run this delay through it and just record it out straight away. So we got input number 9, this Chiotina, or whatever it's called, not that. And I record, I'll arm it, and I'll just record. There's the audio. And I'll just play with the echo plugin. So this is now here, and it's just recorded it in. And what I want to do is I want to make a loop, but I want to make a loop that goes maybe on 12 bars, so it feels a bit syncopated when I eventually add the drums in, the more conventional drums. So, or as I like to call it, like the rolling drums, like your kick and your snare and your hat. So let's do it on a 6-bar loop. So let's just write that in. I'm also going to get an EQ and just EQ at the bottom, and that's because I don't want this acting as a bass line. I want it acting as like more percussion for your head. I might even pitch it up as well. It's doing that little kind of clicky thing, so let's put it on Kompakt and see if that sounds better. Gonna make the loop longer. You know what, let's make a 12-bar loop. Okay, cool, what have we got? Command-Shift-I to make it all in one nice line. There's something there, you know. I'm like waiting till something really captures me, but there's something there. So the MIDI channel, I'm gonna open up a synth next. I'm gonna open up the Moog Minitor, which is a bass synth, which I absolutely love. Makes it onto a lot of tracks. The way I'm working is like I'm running MIDI from Ableton using the external instrument into the synth, and then that way I can use the MIDI from Ableton, the clocks, and also the piano roll, and essentially use it as a plugin. And then afterwards I'll take audio from there and put it back into Ableton. So here we go. External instrument, MIDI 2, it's going to go to MIDI 3. Now I haven't labeled these. I could get very organized and label everything, but I don't, and I don't for 2 reasons. Let me just find the output quickly. So MIDI 3 is there, I can see it's flicking. And then the input is input 5. It's clipping a bit, so I'll just turn it down. So that's now this synth that's playing. So before I dive into the synth, I don't label everything, and that's not because I'm messy or disorganized. That's for 2 reasons. That's firstly because I'm rewiring everything all the time. I'm always moving things around. If I get bored, I put this over there or whatever. And the other reason why is I want a bit of randomness. I want to be able to make mistakes. I want to think I'm playing one synth and I'm playing another one. And all that stuff is a kind of anti-process creative approach that I was talking about at the beginning, you know. So sometimes, you know, if you're doing your accounts, organization and process is good. When you're making art, like, no, sometimes it's good to be a bit blind and a bit weird, and that's how you get your happy accidents and all of that. So I have found the synth. I mean, it's not like I've got so many that it takes ages to find them. I found the synth and I can play it here. Just open it up fully. I've got no idea what key I'm in. I'll try and do it by ear. I'll just find what sounds nice. Okay, cool. So we seem to be in A minor, which is obviously really nice music to play. So yeah, I'm just gonna. I've got this completely open. I've got one sawtooth wave playing. Everything's open. I will dive in the synth in a minute. I'm just gonna get a pattern that's nice, and I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna copy the vocal. very, very simple. Notice that I've played it and I'm quantizing but not fully so that they don't match up purposefully where they would if I copied and pasted. Now I love this percussion, but everything's too in your face, so I'm just going to add a little bit of reverb through the send and return, and just mute the top frequencies a bit just to put it in the distance. Now I've sent it to the reverb in the send return here. This is Ableton's standard reverb. I might use a different one later, but right now I don't want to think about what reverb I want. I just want a little bit of reverb. So this is the one that when you open a blank Ableton project comes in and it's there. So onto the synth. Yeah, so I've just got this completely open sound, which is I'm going to switch it to a square wave. And I'm just going to make a small kind of plucky bass. I'm going to mute that percussion, the kind of deep delayed percussion, just because it's taking up a lot of room. I will bring it back later, but I'm just struggling to hear everything. So. I'm going to add a little bit of delay onto the bass. It's a little kind of signature of mine, so I'm adding just a little delay. And what I'm doing is I'm removing all of the low frequencies from the delay. And finding a pattern that sits nicely with that. And I'm just playing with the delay settings till I find something that sits nice with that little rhythm melody. Definitely not that. Okay, that's fine. I will later probably sidechain that to the kick, but firstly there's no kick yet. And secondly, I don't like to do too much processing too early because then you get latency, and latency and hardware are not friends. So I'm not mixing it, but just getting rid of a bit of low end. Again, I've just shoved this kind of low cut filter on. I haven't spent time with where I want it to sit. When I'm mixing the track, I'll think about this. But right now, I just want delay on the reverb on the bass that isn't creating problems. And then what I can do, opening it up, the track will probably do that at some point, some resonance. And knowing me and what I like, I'll probably record all of that in at some point. The track will probably go there. Right, we've got a vibe. Everything, let me just turn everything down. It's not a song, it's not a groove, it's not, but we have a vibe. Now, what I'll say is, for me to get to that point, if I wasn't explaining what I'm doing, I'd probably get here in, I don't know, 3 minutes or so, and I could try different things and say, okay, this is not amazing, let me start again, but like to get to this point is a very, very quick process. All right, so we've got this. This one, I just want to make that so it loops every 4 bars. So I'm going to duplicate twice, and then I'm just going to mute all of those, just because it needs a bit of space. Pressing 0 to mute it, you can see there. Okay, cool. Just playing. All right, cool. So I'm going to make some drums. So I'm going to load up a plugin. what I'm using for all my for all my kind of conventional drums, my kicks and percussion, basic percussions, I'm using XLN's XO plugin, and what essentially it is I think it's going to open here. Yeah. What essentially it is it's not a VST. It's a sample manager, and I've got all of my drum sounds in here. Well, not all, but the ones I've put in here. And it organizes them in this kind of really intuitive fashion. This plugin blows my mind, to be honest. Where I've got all the kicks on one side, and you've got the frequencies basically going from low to high. You do it on the mouse. Frequencies going from low to high. So you've got kicks over here, some toms here, snares, tokey things, and eventually into your hi-hats and your rides. So yeah, so that's how that works. So I'm gonna create a blank preset. Sorry, not use up all. There we go. And then in here you've also got your sequencer. So I'm gonna add some sounds in, and I'm gonna go fairly random for now. There's a kick. Let me add a snare, because I can tweak them later, and some hi-hats. Sure, why not? Close hi-hat. Cool. I like you. So let's add a 4 to the floor kick. Sorry, I just need to tell it to sync with Ableton. It's obviously not the right kick for the it's obviously not the right kick for the bass line. So in here I've got all my sounds, and I've loaded in like different sample packs and stuff, and I'm using the same few sounds. I'm using the Kenny Music sounds that everyone uses. So if I do KM, you get the beautiful analog Kenny Music samples, and I'm using samples from Mars, which also have an amazing collection. So if I type in Mars, it just gives me those. And you can kind of do whatever. I can type in 808 and it just gives me 808 sounds. And this is how I'm minimizing. So let's do Mars. Just find a kick. Oh, perfect. Better. And then it can kind of tell you, find similar ones for you. And you see, I'm doing these by hand, just because that's my workflow I have at the moment. Recently, I've found if I play the drums, I seem to play the same rhythms over and over again. So I'm quite keen on doing things by hand. When I play them in, I use this, but I don't think we're going to talk about that today. Let's add another drum there. We've got the snare on the 2 and the 4. Let's just do a little ghost note. Do a 2-bar loop. So that's now doing that. I don't like the sound. Okay, cool, and then let's add some percussions in. I'm drawing these in fairly randomly, because then what I'm going to do is play afterwards, after I've got the kind of sound design, play to get everything talking to each other. So cool, and then let's find like a high frequency clave thing. That's nice. And I want to get some to have that more like musical, rather than like I've just had this playing 16ths. I'm just going to have it some notes play louder and some play quieter, and I'm going to quieten the on beats just to save me sidechaining later. Let me move the snare, doesn't need it. I want to know what note that's playing because something's a bit off key, so I'm just going to throw a tuner on there. Oh, it doesn't like that. I've got another plugin for, I've got mixed in key, which is great for same things. D sharp minor, I can't be bothered to play D sharp minor, so I'm going to pitch that to A. That's how many semitones? Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I have to do it like that. That's me being lazy, just because I played the bass in already. Yeah, you know what? I preferred it before. Don't care if it was off key, so I know I'll probably change. Let's keep that there for now. Forget what mixed in key says. I'll probably change that 1,000 times. Cool. I want to add some snares, some big snare drums. So I'm gonna find a snare drum sound in Ableton, and I'm gonna not spend ages looking through sounds and sample libraries and stuff. I'm gonna go to the snare. What have we got? Sample from Mars. Let's try that. I don't want 909. I don't want maybe like a 707. Let's try that. Individual hits. Right, I want to play that in, and I want to do some kind of snare rolly things. So I've put that into Ableton through a simpler. I did one shot, so it plays through. And that's quite a kind of signature thing for me to do, so I'm just going to play those in. Cool, I've played those in. I'm just gonna quantize, not the whole way again, but probably more than I would other sounds. And I actually want this to play it to a 30-second beat. Oh, on the 30-second grid, so let's try that out. Nice. Nice. So then I'm going to add some guitar processing. And I've got this kind of chain that I make with guitar process on the snares with guitar processing. Okay, cool. In fact, I'm just going to... This is the standard one I use. And I've saved these presets, and this is just within Guitar Rig, you know, you've got reverbs and guitar amps and all sorts of things, and I've just got this chain that I use a lot, which involves some guitar processing with some reverb and some delays that I've muted, and I sometimes unmute them. And we need some reverb, and something that I often do is I put the reverb, rather than doing it on send and return, I'll put it in early. And I won't use the same reverb as I use in other places on the track so that it feels a bit more like a sample. And I'm going to shove it before the guitar delay. Let's keep going. Let's go back to those samples. I've got this kind of sample packy things I haven't touched yet. And I'm just going to shove them on the top and see how they sound. That sounds amazing as it is, but that's boring for the tutorial. Maybe we can do like a weird little loop there. Cool, I've done that pretty randomly, and I want to turn. That's sick. I want to just turn that into something a bit more conventional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch temporarily to the arrangement view, and I'm just going to take that little 1.3 whatever bar loop, and I'm going to loop that out. I'm still catching vibes. I don't have a song yet, but I'm still just kind of playing. In fact, I just like it like this. Let's just do that. You know what? It would be nice if it went like da da. So let's just play with the audio, cut and move. Da, da. So let's go like that. Let's try that. And what I might do is oddly this has worked out really well, but what I might do is just mute some notes. So I'm going to take you and mute. I'm going to take you and let's just reverse it. Let's just see how that sounds. And then copy the first half. I mean, that little edits I did are a bit unnecessary. Sometimes I can go in for ages and just play with the mouse and whatever. I'm generally using loops like this when I want to cut and go a bit weird and edgy. If I want to do something conventional, I usually play it in. But if I want to do something weird, that's when I love this kind of this thing of like, let's take like some percussion that someone has made for you to cheat and throw it in your track and turn that into like a bass line, or turn that into like something that people think is a vocal, but it's actually some weird drums. And when I kind of want to get weird with audio, that's when I go to Loop Masters or Spice or whatever. I'm not going there for more kind of conventional things. So yeah. Okay, cool, that works. I'm just gonna highlight all of it and do a Command J. I'm starting to have a song here almost. Let's stick the loop on there, the 4-bar loop, and this is kind of a sketch pad of samples, so I'm gonna make a new channel for it. I need that reverb. That's a good track. Right, let's just see if that first vocal works. If it does, we'll play with it. If it doesn't, forget it. Okay. That's fun. That off, so it goes like what? Cool. I'm gonna duplicate that so it plays every 8 bars and just move that one here and get rid of that. Cool, and then that da da, I want to turn that into something melodic. So I'm gonna add some synths. I just want to add some stabs to support the. Like, that's asking for a stab to support it. So I'm going to do that with the Juno. So again, external instrument. Nothing is names, but because it's my studio, I'm pretty sure that Express 2 and input 3, 4. Beautiful sound. I just want something really basic, so let's start with that. Cool, so what I want to do is I just want to capture those stabs in, playing like a really basic minor chord. That. And here is the MIDI. Super easy stuff. Basic techno stab. I'm just going to move the notes around a bit. And I want that to be absolutely massive, but I've run out of headroom, so let me turn everything down. It's being annoying. So I'm moving it back down. I just promised I wouldn't get caught up in the detail, but me being me. A little bit of delay. I would probably do this through the send and return, but to save time, I'm just going to throw a delay on there. Cool, that's in there. Let's do another synth. Let's go straight in. I'm not going to spend ages on it because I'm going to record it in later and play myself opening and closing the filter and all of that. There's a little bit of latency, so let me just record that out and shift it. And even now, I can still play with the audio afterwards. Let's just go back, one sec. Sorry guys, I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up muting this in a sec. Cool, so I've got my stabs in now, they're supporting the other element. Let me add a pad. I'm going to use the Prophet. So again, another external instrument. Again, I haven't labeled or anything. I'll do all of that later. When I need to arrange the track, the first thing I'll do is organize the page. But right now, mess is good. Mess means randomness. Mess means spontaneity. Mess is good. And it's not worth spending ages arranging the page and losing the creative flow, you know? So port 1. That's the Prophet that's currently playing. Now, my Prophet 6 has some issues receiving MIDI, sending MIDI. So what I'm going to do is make the sound on here, and then play it from here, and do it that way. So I'm going to go to a preset that I used quite a lot, which is one that I made, and it's featured in loads of tracks. And it's just a kind of pad sound that has an LFO on the pitch, so it just kind of makes it a little bit kind of creepy. It's kind of a classic rave thing, but it's got some noise and some LFOs and stuff. So let's just throw that on. And as I said, I'm going to play it through this keyboard because the problem with hardware is hardware breaks and gets damaged and needs services and then servicing. But if I got everything serviced all the time and everything was in good order, I'd have no time to make music. So you just kind of learn to work with the problems. And yeah, let's just record. That twice because the first time around I didn't quite get the progression I wanted. So here's all the MIDI, beautifully in Ableton Live, just correcting some mistakes. I'm not a very good keys player. Says every producer ever. I'm quantizing but not fully, and I'm pressing the legato button just to make them nice and long. I obviously don't always do that, but that's what I want right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record from input 1 and 2. I'm going to record that out, and as I record, I'm going to open and close the synths and show you how I'm doing that like pretty well with the Prophet. I will do that with every single synth, but even if I don't use them, I just have the audio there. So first time I'll just let it record as the setting is. I leave that recording because I like it open like that. And what I'll do is I'm going to do the same thing at the same time with the bass. So the bass is coming 5. I'm going to just arm that. The Prophet's still recording in the background. So, and you can see that's the bass coming in. I've got the bass recording there, the Prophet recording there, and let's just play. Cool, so you've got like most of the elements of the track are in there, and everything is, I've got the audio here from like a cycle flow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make a loop. I'm just going to make an 8-bar loop, and The kind of traditional thing to do is to record all the audio in, and then you've got it there and you can cut it up later. What I will almost definitely do is that, and then at the end say I'm not quite happy, and then once I've arranged the track, record all the synths through one at a time to get the movement right, to make sure they're all talking to each other. But this is good for a sketch, and that's probably quicker than me spending ages cutting up audio. Just, I've lost everything else. So I've got this. So it recorded something I didn't want to record in there. When I turned it down, it recorded the volume automation. Let's get rid of that. So the synth, I want to turn that off too. One more element I want to add before I start thinking about arrangement, and that's a really signature Hardt Antoine massive thing that's going to play the same thing as the bass. And this time I do want to copy it because I want it to play exactly the same as the bass. And that's going to be on the Nord lead. Again, another preset that I've got. Right, and now you're in on 75. I mean, everyone jokes that I use the same sound on every track, and the bass can open up there. Right, let's just record that in, and the same, I'm going to record in myself playing with the delay, with the release, with the LFO that's on the pitch, and have it build. So let's see. Cool. Now that mess, I'm just going to play everything and it's going to sound not great. What you can hear is everything, like everything. I might add some more stuff later, some effects and whatever. I could go for days. But what I will just do is add, and then I will record all of it out from here. I'm just going to press record in Ableton, and we'll record it from the session view into the arrangement view. So what I'm left with is this kind of 16-bar loop. Now what would work, I'm not going to talk about arrangement, obviously, as I said, I'm just going to talk about the loop. But what would work is I'm going to make one loop of 8 bars that's just like grooves and some vocals, and the second loop with all the synths. And I will do that very, very quickly. Let's just get here. And all this kind of automated bass, let's just shove that to the side, we can use that later. And let's just make a nice loop, as we discussed. What I would do is I would do 3, and then we'll play it through once, and I think we'll call it done. I'll put you there again. All the automation. This is the Nord lead. I'm still dealing with mess, and I'll talk about that again in a sec. So let's listen to our 3 loops. I don't want to bring those synths in later. Pretty much it. From there, the next step would be to arrange the page, because the page is a mess, and that's when I'll go through. I'll take the drum sounds out of the plugin and have your kick and your snare and your hat. I'll mute everything that's not there. I'll probably color coordinate some stuff, and my next step would be to get like a basic, not arrangement, but just a basic structure where the breaks are going to be and so on and so forth. But the most important thing is for my jam, I've got the colors. Which is obviously all the stuff we did at the beginning. I've got my I guess melody, which is what the bass line plays. I've got a little bit of emotion, but most importantly, as I have the moment, because obviously I'm not arranging the track now, but I know that from this kind of pad emotional section into the big in-your-face synth, I know on a dance floor that's going to be huge. And because I've got a moment and I've got a little hook with a vocal, okay, it's not that strong, I'd probably look for a deeper one, a better one, but because I've got that, the track has purpose, I know it's worth me continuing, and I probably will, to be honest.